I never ever thought I'd be talking about things like this, but since what happened in July, I really can't sit still and not say how I feel.
Last summer in Southport, Leanne Lucas survived the unimaginable. A brutal knife attack on the Taylor Swift-themed dance class she was running claimed the lives of Bebe King, Elsie Dot Stancombe and Alice da Silva Aguiar. 8 other girls and another adult were injured. Leanne herself had life-threatening injuries.
My campaign is called Let's Be Blunt, and it's about creating social awareness of safer tipped knives that we can have in our kitchen.
Now, Leanne is turning the trauma of that day into a campaign she hopes will make homes and communities safer.
Especially since what happened to me last July, I hadn't really noticed the statistics on knife crime. I hadn't had it on my doorstep. And since that happened, I feel like I've just had my eyes opened to the dangers of how domestic tools can be weaponised and the fact that they're so readily available. So at the moment, the normal design, the everyday kitchen has the pointed tip on the end of their knives, where actually we don't really use them in our home cooking. So a safer option is to go for a curved or a blunt tip knives that reduces that risk of the kitchen knife being used ever as a weapon.
Why is it the tip itself that is the issue that you're campaigning about?
So when I spoke to the medical team around my injuries, the life-threatening injuries I have were the ones that were created with the tip of the knife, and they're the ones that put me in critical care, which led me to nearly dying. So that's where I've educated myself along the lines of it is majority of times is the tip that causes the homicides.
It's obviously deeply personal for you, this campaign.
I think what's really helpful for me is to have something to put that trauma and healing process into, and to not let evil win. So what happened before the incident was just pure joy. We were just having so much fun, and for that to be ruined and for everyone's life that was involved to be shattered is just not acceptable. So for me to be able to ask people to help, and as survivors of knife crime, for all of us to ask people to help, to do something so small to help to stop this happening in their town and to their family, to their neighbours, you know, I don't think it's a lot to ask.
Because as part of your research for this campaign, were you surprised at how frequently it's domestic knives that are used in knife crime incidents?
I was so surprised because on the news you normally hear of the zombie knives, machetes, things like that. They sound dangerous, and really when you look at the figures, the highest figure, and it's extremely high, is the domestic kitchen knife, which we have all got in our kitchen, which we use daily. And since the attack in the summer, I haven't actually cooked with a pointed tip kitchen knife again.
Was it a conscious sort of choice for safety for you to change knives, or was it a sense of physically you couldn't look at one because of what happened?
I guess I hadn't really thought about it, but I knew deep down the message that would always come across from whatever I did moving forward was, I don't want this pain and this trauma that any of us have felt, I don't want that to happen to another family.
In the aftermath of attacks like the one in Southport, the government changed legislation to make more types of knives illegal and to make it harder for under 18s to buy knives online. But in truth, these measures can only ever go so far when a sharp tip knife is in most kitchen drawers. A few miles away from Southport, this manufacturer in Liverpool has been making round tip knives for several years. In an industry, though, still dominated by sharp-tip kitchen utensils, here they have seen consumer demand for these slowly growing.
Kitchen knives should be designed for use in the kitchen, not for misuse. And we're committed to helping to drive that message forward as a manufacturer as an industry and as a responsible member of our community.
Can I ask just how you are? Is this campaign is it helping you through sort of the healing process? I know that will be a long and lifetime thing.
So yeah, I say I'm doing okay. Like it's very broad. Like, but to know that I'm doing this for the girls, for myself, and for any future generations, and any families, that this can hopefully reduce any risk to it ever coming onto their doorstep, and that helps me to heal.
Because do you think, is there a world, do you think, in a few years perhaps, where you might see your name in a newspaper or in a TV article where it's not Leanne Lucas, victim, and it's Leanne Lucas, campaigner, activist, change maker?
I'd like to hope so. I mean, obviously it's a privilege to be a survivor, but I don't want to be defined by what happened to us. We will never let that happen to us here in Southport. We will not be defined by that moment. We can try and move past it, remember it always, but move past it and do people proud. You know, we're not going to stay where we were, we're going to move forward, and we're going to take everyone with us.
Who do you want to make proud?
Everyone that supported me, family, friends, and all the girls. That's what I was doing it for originally. It was my work was for the girls. My work was for community. It was enhancing the community, focusing on well-being, and just creating memories that will last a lifetime. And I don't want this to be part of our memories. So if I can inspire any of them, if I can show them that there's hope and there's real change came from what happened to us. We didn't sit back and say, oh, you know, that happened and we're going to let it happen to other people. If I can do that, then that's what I'll do.